Okay, once again, good morning. Welcome to the Sports Talk with Kerry Wehmeyer show for Sunday, August 7th. We're going to be going over once again. We'll have LSU practice reports from yesterday. We didn't play the full thing because we had the Saints, so we'll play it back today. And also, we'll go over some sports headlines as well. So, once again, thanks for joining us if you're on Facebook and YouTube. So let's go ahead and go over to the practice reports. I'm going to set it up right now. So let's go ahead and get this started.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, it's great to have you here, too. All right, and I think that's how we're going to go this year. Beautiful. I'll open up with, the practice was, controlled today. As you can tell, we were indoors. Certainly when you have, an excited group of coaches and players that, have had a little time off. One of my biggest, concerns going into the first day is that we don't want to do too much. We want to obviously acclimatize the right way. Don't put ourselves in a position where we, get any soft tissue injuries and do too much today. So it really was just set up to, get the guys back into the structure of practice, how we practice. Thought it was good. I was really proud of the way they, were really focused on, what we asked them to do, and that's be, really understanding the technical and tactical aspects of practice. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to lay down, the programming, so when we get to Florida State, just press play and go play fast. And so that they did a nice job today. The tenets of what we want in practice and running out and doing it the right way, not having guys on the ground, not being sloppy, was really good for me. We've come a long way since the spring, so it's good to see that retention and feeling good about how to practice the right way. We got, obviously it's the first day, we've got a long way to go. We haven't decided on the quarterback, obviously, after today, so you can hold those questions. But clearly we'll continue to build on the workload in practice. We'll go inside again tomorrow. And then Saturday, we'll head outside and begin to build the volume in the practices. So with that, we'll open up the questions.
Hey, Coach Kelly, I'm right here in the middle. Garland Gillen, Fox 8. I know you said, you just joked about you're not going to make an announcement on the quarterback position today, but how excited are the guys, the quarterbacks, that you're, I guess, a week in, you're going to start doing things that are geared toward what they do? Are they excited to not just do the basic stuff? They can finally get some stuff. Jaden can do his own thing. Miles can. How excited are the guys that they get to finally do some things that geared more to them?
Yeah, I think they're all anxious to prove what they can do. They want that opportunity. So, they've prepared really hard, all of them. They're all in great shape. Their mental preparation, you can see it's so, further along than it was now that they know the playbook. So I think they're all anxious to get out there and, have the opportunities to showcase what they can do. And today, again, was much more of, an understanding of, the basic tenets of, footwork and across the field progressions, those kinds of things. And you can see that they're already past that. They're ready to move to the next level.
Brian here in the middle, Wilson Alexander with The Advocate.
Yeah.
What was the purpose back in the summer of having a mental trainer come in and work with the team like she did?
Well, our total preparation is based upon physical preparation. And certainly we all know what that means, right? Certainly the weight room and our nutritionists, work together, as well as Bo Lowry and his staff. That physical component in terms of total preparation is what we're here for, right? I already mentioned the technical and tactical, how important that is, right? In total preparation of a football team and a football player. But the mental preparation is absolutely crucial as well. And so, having a mental performance coach and building, the brain is similar to a muscle. You have to train it as well. And so, mental performance is the weight room for the brain for us. And so that's an important piece in our total preparation. And we laid down the foundational principles for our football team in helping them understand how important that is in their total preparation. So they have the tools, they have a tool belt to help them through things like confidence, things like emotional control. How they think on a day-to-day basis really matters. And a mental performance coach that we have, and Dr. Sulking, who's been with me now 7 years, really can be a great asset for us.
Hey, Coach, here in the back. Kayshon Boutte, where do you see him right now with his health, and what kind of potential? Is he a guy that could win the Biletnikoff for you if he plays up to potential?
Well, this was my first glimpse at him, quite frankly, and he's an explosive player. He's learning how to practice. Today he was a guy that I had to remind him a little bit about how to practice the right way, but he's so committed. He's worked so hard. I'm excited, for him really, because you can see his potential is one of, can he be the best receiver in the country? I think he can be, but you got to go out and do it. I just like the fact that he is totally committed to what we're doing and how we're doing it. And now he got a chance to see how we practice for the first time. He picked that up today as well. His player load was pretty high today. It's probably a little bit more than we maybe that we wanted for him, but he handled it well, and I expect him to even continue to build on that. So yes and yes to all those things, and excited that he's with us.
Brian, just some logistical questions, I guess, if you would. How do you want this first week to work for the team? What do you want them to get at the end of the week? And then, so we can kind of quash all the quarterback stuff, how do you want to work those reps so that no one really reads into who's where with what group?
Well, I want to get through these last 2 days, today and tomorrow, as academic days, because we have a number of guys that are in our C session for academics. So that, and as I mentioned, we really have this planned out as a 7-day kind of acclimatization with, the 2 days in spider pads and helmets, 3 days in shoulder pads. Our 6th day, obviously, will be our full contact. And then we get the 7th day where it's a day off. So really, the focus here is let's get through this first week and make sure we make good choices and good decisions as it relates to the health and the acclimatization of our football team, and then really ramp it up as it gets to the quarterback situation. So you're not going to see much separation in the first 7 days. That'll begin to take shape and form as we get into down and distance situations. So, for example, these first 2 days are really P and 10, meaning you're just dialing up, every play that is not even a down and distance play. Practice 3, we start to get into some second down. Practice 4 and 5, you start to see a little bit of third down situations. And when we get into that 6th day, you'll start to see a little bit more third down and long, where now you can start to see some play calling that is going to be situated for, the quarterbacks. So it's not going to be until that second kind of rack, if you will, that second week where we start to, pin some plays on quarterbacks.
Chessa Boucher with NBC 33.
Yeah.
Aside from Kayshon Boutte, you have that loaded wideout room. Is there anybody that kind of you're expecting to have a breakout fall camp?
I'm not just saying this, but to be positive, but I'm Thomas, Neighbors, Hilton, I'd like to see them all, continue to develop because they are young receivers. Those would be the guys in particular. Jenkins has showed some things in spring that we'd like to see him continue to progress in the manner that he has. all those guys are talented, but I really think more than anything else, it's the consistency that we want to see from those guys, that they do it, play in and play out, and actually practice in and practice out. So consistency and performance is really what we're looking for with that group. If we get that, it'll be a dynamic group.
Yeah, Brian, are there any players who, I guess, who can't go full speed in practice right now or can't take part in drills? And also, Trey Bradford's status, didn't see him on the roster.
Yeah, Trey has been separated from the university, and that's, there are Buckley, laws that I can't get into some specifics there, but he is no longer on the roster. As it relates to practice, Besh is limited. He's coming back. I think he's making the progress necessary from shin splints, and I think he'll be, available for us in the next couple of days. But he's really the only one that has the kind of limitations. I think Tolan, had the discectomy. He's making great progress. Those would be the two guys that are kind of on a pitch count, if you will, if that's, if I can use that phraseology in terms of they're coming along, but they're not quite there yet, but they've made pretty good progress.
Hey, Coach Kelly, Glenn West with Go247. Just Jarek Bernard-Converse, we saw him out there, I think, for the first time since he's joined the program. Just update, I guess, on his status and just how important it is for the secondary, particularly that cornerbacks group, to kind of develop some cohesiveness in these first several weeks of camp.
Yeah, if I have my notes in front of me, it's one of the things I talked about in our offensive and defensive staff meetings, probably 2 or 3 times about trying to gain some continuity at the cornerback position. So getting him back, getting him out here, he's been a great leader for us. And we're anxious to see what he can do. Obviously had a great career at Oklahoma State. We expect that to continue here. I had a good summer. He's healthy. And he's played a lot of football. So the expectations are that he's going to impact what we do. But now I think the big thing here is to gain some continuity at that that position. And that's why we went into the transfer portal and feel very fortunate to have him.
Hey, Coach. Bree Andrews, LSU Tiger TV. With John Emery being able to come back this season, Armani Goodman be able to come back, how would you describe, the depth in the running back room and how that's really come together? And is there anybody there that's really stood out to you?
Not yet. I mean, they're all going to have a great chance, to contribute. I really like the depth of the group. You had, Kane to that mix as well. And I think, all of them have a chance to contribute, much like we saw in the spring game where we had a lot of guys contribute. I think that's going to be probably what happens here this year, and I'm okay with that. I think that's great. I mean, I think all of them are very competitive and all bring a little bit something different to the table, but all will contribute in some fashion.
Brody Miller with The Athletic. Martinez, Dellinger, two guys who've kind of cross-trained a good bit. I guess where are they kind of mainly focusing on right now in the line, and where could they be used?
Yeah, that's a good question. Brad and I were kind of, having a conversation about it even during practice, because there's a lot of moving parts there with, Dellinger's at guard. We want to see him at center a little bit. You saw Frazier at guard with Bradford, but, Frazier could play tackle as well, and so we've paired them up on the right side because we think that they're interchangeable. We like the fact that Bradford's got really good feet, but Frazier's got some length. So long story short, as it relates to the specifics of your question, those guys you're going to be center guard combinations right now. But I think it's important that there's some flexibility here for the first 2.5 weeks, and we'll build, the starting 5, and then, finding the rotation, where you have, your tackles solidified, the center position. And then I think we've got some really good depth, that's building in this unit. But I think it's going to take a little while for it to kind of pan out over the next couple of weeks.
Hey, Coach, Jace Lejeune from Gridiron Football. I know you signed a really talented transfer portal class. Talk about just trying to get those guys accumulated to the program and also getting the veterans their reps as well.
Yeah, so we kind of went through that in the spring because most of those guys were here as it relates to the transfer portal. So they assimilated very well, they fit in very well, and they got a lot of work in the spring and then had a really good summer. So I would say that in itself has kind of already played itself out, and they've immersed themselves into the program and are seen now as one, in terms of the program themselves. So, whether it's a wide receiver or whether it's a running back, I mean, obviously Kane is new to the program, but other than that, everybody is kind of assimilated quite well back into the program.
Hey, Coach, of the guys who weren't here this spring, I'm kind of curious who sort of stepped up today, and it seems like they were here during the spring even though they weren't.
I don't know that there was anybody that particularly, we hadn't seen Seven before. Seven Banks, obviously he was out here today in a little bit of a limited fashion. But, obviously, having Perkins out here today, you get a flash and see him. I was over watching tackling drills, and, he's got a suddenness to him, that's quite different than some of the other players. I think there's a couple of players that kind of flash at you. I like the way Bordelon moves around, athletic. He's a big, strapping kid that moves well. Emery, the local kid from Catholic, Emery Jones, he's a big physical kid too. So those guys kind of jump out at you a little bit, that they look more than just, the typical, freshman coming in. These guys are physically mature and handle themselves, very well.
Take two more, Brett, and then Lee. Okay, over here, Brett Martell with the AP out of New Orleans. Could you compare maybe relative to, longer stretches in your career where you had relative, coaching staff and roster stability, just how you feel about the amount of decisions that a mostly new staff here has to make about a roster with a lot of new players between now and week one?
It's a good question. And I think it's been answered by the way these questions have been posed as to whether it's the offensive line, which I said, I think, be patient, the quarterback position, the cornerback position. I think those three critical areas, right? Corners, offensive line, and quarterback. A lot of good and bad things happen in those units, and there's questions that have to be answered. Now, I stand here in front of you feeling pretty good about the players that we've put together in a very short order that can go out and play at a high level in the SEC, but the fact of the matter remains, we got to figure out who those guys are. And so we're going to go through camp and have to make some tough decisions and quite frankly, rely on evaluations in camp to do that, and that's a little bit different in my years. Generally, we've had guys kind of, everyone says the depth chart, it's always open, but you always have a guy penciled in somewhere. There's not a lot of penciling in yet. So yes, to your questions, there's some work to be done.
Coach, Leah Van, the Advocate. Traditionally, the number 18 has been very special to this team. Are you looking to continue that tradition, and when do you hope to find a player to wear that jersey number?
Yeah, I think the tradition is real and needs to continue. I've talked to the team about it. They believe in it as well. It's we believe that number represents somebody that brings all the traits every day. If 7 is the most talented player from the state of Louisiana, we think that 18 is the one that brings all those traits that come to that player that leads in an extraordinary manner. the attention to detail, just a great focus, represent your program in a positive way, both in the classroom, in the community, on the field. And so that's kind of what 18, means, and it's important. And so we're going to award it to a deserving player. We're just not going to do that today. But it's coming. Stay tuned. I think you guys will show up. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, once again, Coach Brian Kelly talking about LSU today. I'll be honest with you. I'll be totally honest with you. This team right here, I think it's destined for greatness this year. Absolutely destined for greatness. So once again, we'll go over some sports headlines here on this Sunday. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. So let me put the ESPN headlines in. On the screen, it's on there. So okay, let's sources, Kaleem Hunt requests a trade, but Cleveland declines. Looks like they're not going to let Kaleem Hunt go. That's kind of, like I said, that is what it is. So I'll be honest with you. If, like I said, Cleveland wants to do that, that's their prerogative. So once again, this is from ESPN. Go to ESPN.com. Move this over so you see me. Here it is. Go to another headline. Okay, former 49ers player Brian Young, emotional tribute when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. So let's hear from him. Give it a few seconds. Let it load.
Now I'd like to let you meet Kobe. Born in August 2001, Kobe loved life. He had an infectious smile, many interests, including football. He was a happy kid. In fall 2014, when he was 13, Kobe started having headaches. A CAT scan revealed a brain tumor. Kai had just had knee surgery and deserved our full attention, but our focus and hers shifted to Kobe. 5 days later, surgeons removed the tumor and told us it was cancer. Kobe was back at school 8 days later. His spirits were good. He had the heart of a lion. My injury seemed trivial. Knowing radiation would weaken him, doctors told Kobe to give up football. It absolutely broke his heart. He turned the page and focused on basketball. The treatments were hard. Kobe showed immense courage. He felt good for months. We really were hopeful. The following October, Kobe said, "Dad, I have a headache." The cancer was back. Doctors tried immunotherapy, but it had spread too far too fast. Kobe sensed where things were heading and had questions. He didn't fear death as much as the process of dying. Would it be painful? Would he be remembered? We assured Kobe we'd keep his memory alive and continue speaking his name. On October 11, 2016, God called Kobe home. Kobe, You live on in our hearts.
I'm gonna say this about what he is saying about his son Kobe. The thing is, look, when you got cancer like that, it is emotional and stuff like that. Like I said, this is deservedly honored by Brian Young being in the Hall of Fame. So once again, this is from ESPN. Go to ESPN.com and we'll move along, see what's happening elsewhere. Okay, Eric Ten Hag era suffers a destroyed start by as Bingleton beats Manchester United 2-1. So let's see what they had to say about that.
If you look at the first 45 minutes, in fact, it was embarrassing. I think if you Manchester United haven't had so many hopes with Eric Ten Hag, a new season, couple of new signings, a little bit better in the second half. But I think you'd expect that. You expect a little bit of a bounce, and that didn't last for very, very long. And in fact, I think with some of the substitutions that Brighton have made, that after 10, 15 minutes where United were on top, I think once again they controlled the game, and it seems to be easy these days to control the match against Manchester United. We also know that at home, although a little bit better last season, I think teams just don't fear Manchester United in general and at Old Trafford.
Okay, once again, that's from ESPN. Let's see what else we have for you today. Okay, Los Angeles Rams, Matthew Stafford oppressed at practice, downplaying irritating elbow issues. So let's hear from him.
But just trying to be smart with it and make me feel as good as I can feel going into week one and while still getting as many reps as I can too.
Is the soreness while you're throwing or just after a day of throwing that you're dealing with?
General soreness. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But oh no, I'm just going through something that is irritating, at the moment. But I'm working through it. We got a great plan. I'm feeling stronger every time I come out here and throw. I don't know if you guys were watching, it felt like I could make any throw I wanted to today, and just trying to be smart when I get those opportunities and make sure I can come out here, cut it loose, turn it loose, like I did today, and go from there.
Okay, yeah, he has a lot of elbow issues, but the truth of the matter is, he seems like he is in good spirits with it. But once again, this is from ESPN. So let's see what else we have today for you. Okay, Jordan Montgomery dazzles in debut for St. Louis as they blanked the New York Yankees. So that was yesterday's ball game. This is some highlights from that game yesterday. A nice little defensive play by guarding the baseline. He just hit a nice little throw. So once again, this is from ESPN at ESPN.com. We'll see what else we have today. Okay, Bobby Bonilla and famous New York Yankees contract sold for 180 million, 80K from in an auction. So that was so let's show you what. So he did. They did sell it pretty well. There was somebody must have bought it. I mean, I'll be honest with you. That 180 K is something. So once again, this is from ESPN, ESPN.com. Okay, welterweight contender Virgil Ortiz stops Michael McKinson in a match last night. So that was in boxing. So this is from Big Baby. You can reach him at ESPN, CSPN.com. His unanimous decision was 98-92, 98-92, and 99-2. He is Esparza 13-1 to his. He won his sixth fight as well. So once again, it's from ESPN. Okay, Messi did score. The final score was Paris Saint-Germain 5 and 5-0. That was in the soccer matches today. So we'll give you the soccer scores in just a second. I'm going to give you those as we go. So we're going to go ahead and give you the soccer scores. So I'm going to go ahead and set that up for you, get some soccer scores in. Waiting on it to load. Okay, some soccer scores from earlier today. English Premier games. Halftime, Manchester City down up 1-0. Tied at 2. Binghamton and Leeds. Also, Manchester United lost. In German Bundesliga action, S04 and and KOE is scoreless. Also, final even at 1 in the other game. Also, games today. San Diego taking on KC. New York taking on Chicago, and Houston taking on RGM. All the Mexican games this afternoon. Okay, club friendly. It is ATL leading JVU, JUB 1-0. Also, ITT wins over SLC 4-3. And then in the French leagues, it is LOR leading 1-0. That's in the 74th minute. Okay, that is your sports from ESPN. So we're going to give you Twitter updates. So let's see what's happening on the Twitters. Okay, AABA champions. New Orleans defeated Johnstown 5-1. So congratulations to the New Orleans Boosters for winning their AAA BA championship. So that's also Isaac put this out. Crazy staying up at broadcast camp. Also, FL teams, the Miami Heat reported are scheduled to have regular season games in Mexico City. They will play the Heat and also the San Antonio Spurs. So they will play the Spurs once that happens. It's from FL teams. Also, there's a picture of the New Orleans Boosters winning their game yesterday. Okay, the Browns have signed player Chris Oldham. So that's came out a couple of hours ago. More from the New Orleans Boosters. Okay, this is from Tulane training camp at Yoma Stadium. Okay, DeAndre Swift, a first round pick in fantasy football drafts that most likely will happen. Okay, Kevin Jones signs a scholarship with Centenary College. Also, this is from TSN. Canucks, Canadians, Jets, or Senators next season. Also, we have. Okay, this is from Saints practices. Nice little pass play by the Honey Badger. 36 days away from Saints. This is a beautiful catch and throw from Jameis Winston to Chris Olave. So that's a good pass right there. Also, happy 87th birthday to Lee Corso, the nut that makes ESPN College Game Day just absolutely off the charts. So once again, happy birthday to Lee Corso. Okay, Rockets Landon Marceau makes his Double-A debut with the Rocket City team. Ole Miss sold around 38,000 season tickets for the 2022 football season. Their first game will be against Troy. Also, let's see what else we have. Let's see, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, once again, that's for the New Orleans Boosters. Okay, this is since Jerry Jude weeks till Alabama football begins. Okay, this is from the score. 49ers think they got the real one in Trey Lance. Okay, Malcolm Jenkins says last year's Saints defense was the best defense. So that's what he said, Malcolm Jenkins. Okay, this is Winston to Thomas. Nice little pass play. Okay, Fly, AJ Brown Fly. This is from PFL. Okay, we're going to wrap this up. So let me go ahead and shut this down. Okay, once again, thanks for joining us for this edition. Sports Talk with Kerry Wehmeyer Show. We'll be back on tomorrow with the same programming. We'll have Saints practice reports on Monday.